The Top of the World Highway is a remote and beautiful road that connects the Yukon gold rush town of Dawson City to Alaska. It was built in the 1950s and is only open in the summer due to large portions of the road still being dirt. We decided to drive it on our way back from Alaska and loved getting to see a lot of unique stops, including the northernmost border crossing for the United States and of course Chicken, Alaska. Did you ever think you're gonna make it to the town of Chicken, Pops?
It's been the destination that I've wanted to reach all my life, to be able to say I've been in Chicken.
Be sure to stay to the end where we try the infamous Sourtoe Cocktail in Dawson City. You don't want to miss it. All right, let's jump into it. Good morning. We spent last night in this awesome cabin in Tok, Alaska, and today we're heading 175 miles to Dawson City on the Top of the World Highway. Pops is really excited about Dawson City. It's something that he's wanted to see for a long time.
I wanted to see it the last time we came to Alaska. For all the reading I've done about it with the history of the Yukon and the gold rush and everything, I'm just so jazzed to be there.
Be sure to fill up in Tok. I don't think there's a lot of gas on the Top of the World Highway. We started the day in Tok by visiting the only place that was open for coffee, Auntie Helena's Coffee Shop and Gifts. This reminds me of Oregon when they put the little bean on top of your coffee. Now we're heading on. This is not one of those road trips where there's a lot of places to stop. There's really not much to see on this drive. That being said, it's beautiful, and of course we found a few places to show you. Make sure to check when the customs are open because they have different hours going here and they're not 24 hours a day. The road and border crossing are only open in the summer, typically from early June to late September. Here's what the road looks like, just different sections where it just breaks up and there's dirt or gravel. You're also driving along the Taylor Highway for most of the first half of the drive before you head off towards the Canada border. Other than in a few parts, this section is paved and it doesn't become dirt and gravel until you get closer to the Canadian border. In this first section, you'll realize how remote the road is with basically only turnouts for bathrooms and a couple of waysides along the drive. We have made it to Chicken. Downtown Chicken is the next right. Did you ever think you're gonna make it to the town of Chicken, Pops?
It's been the destination that I've wanted to reach all my life, to be able to say I've been in Chicken.
Your wish is about to come true. Alright guys, this may be the single greatest cutout we have ever seen. Pops is running the chicken dog sled. As soon as I arrived in Chicken, I fell in love. I love these gimmicky types of places, and this one was definitely one of the best. Welcome to the Gold Panner, the only flushing toilets in Chicken. Got my $9.99 Chicken Alaska shirt from the sale rack. Gotta support it. Both Pops and I picked up shirts from the Chicken Alaska store, and then we set out to explore the tiny town. There's a pretty cool pedestrian suspension bridge right here that goes across Chicken Creek. It's a little bouncy too.
Fall down.
Yeah. And there's Chicken Creek right there. What?
I said this is a very wobbly bridge.
This is also where the RV park and campground is if you wanted to stay in Chicken, Alaska. Apparently we missed the turn to get coffee, which is the second turn in town, so we gotta backtrack up the road to go to the cafe. We're coming up on downtown Chicken right there on the right. Blink and you will miss it. 6-7 Pops right next to the Chicken of Chicken. That's a big boy right there. There's the bathroom back there. It says chicken poop. This part of the small town has a store, a liquor store, a bar, and a cafe. We took the time to go in each one of them, and I have to say the bar was pretty awesome. It was like 9 a.m., so we weren't gonna have a drink, but it definitely looks like a fun place to have a drink if you were staying at the RV park. The Chicken Saloon. They had a pretty rugged bar to sit at, and they had thousands of hats covering the ceiling. Chicken Creek Cafe is gonna be good.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Is it because we didn't eat breakfast?
That could be part of it.
Believe it or not, the Chicken Creek Cafe came highly recommended to us for their incredible pastries.
Oh my gosh.
Pops picked that middle one for some reason. What was the reasoning for that, Pops?
I don't know. This thing must weigh about 3 pounds.
Oh man. So these are warm. They're about 2 pounds. They said the owner makes them every morning.
The topping is not like super sweet as you would think. It's almost more creamy, like cream cheesy kind of thing. That's nice.
All right, my turn. That's decadent. It like melts in your mouth. There's about an inch of cream cheese frosting on top. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty strong.
It's really strong. You gotta get one of these bad boys.
Really strong. But it was $27 for a cinnamon roll, 2 coffees, and a scope. Pops and I are not messing around. We're not leaving any of the chicken cinnamon roll left.
Pick that thing up. It's so heavy. I thought there's no way we're downing this. This will be gone. I can't believe it. It's, as Josh said, this is one of the better things we've eaten on our trips together. It's really nice.
It is so good.
After savoring every bit of our cinnamon roll, we paid respects to the chef and then continued our exploration of chicken.
Shout out to Chicken Alaska. That cinnamon roll was coming. It's so strong for a tiny place like this. You have to stop here if you happen to be driving the top of the world highway.
The last thing we had to do before leaving Chicken was to go see the historic dredge and to take a photo at the big metal chicken, which is what everybody does when they go by.
All right, I fully committed. You guys know I love stuff like this. Rocking the chicken shirt the rest of the day. Big metal chicken behind me. And that sign that shows all of the different other chicken type names around the United States. There's Pops getting his chicken selfie. There's also a big dredge here that you can tour during certain times of the day. There's no tour right now though.
I would have loved to have gone in the dredge, but unfortunately they weren't offering tours on the day that we were there.
That's like our main stop before we get to Dawson City, so we'll see what we see on the way, and we're gonna cross the border into Canada. Basically, after the city of Chicken, the road is unpaved for the next 60 or so miles. So far, this gravel road has been as good, if not better, than the paved road that we had earlier with all the frost heaves.
This is just one of those drives where the scenery is the main attraction. While it's not the rugged beauty that we saw on the Alaska Highway, it still is a very pretty drive along small rivers and with vast distances out in front of you. The best part comes though as you get to the top of this ridgeline and then you drive along it for the next 20 to 30 miles. Along this part of the drive, there's not much blocking your view, and so you can see way out into the distance. Unfortunately for us, there was a fire somewhere out in the distance, so it was a little bit hazy, but it was still really pretty.
Almost to the USA-Canada border. If I had to guess, I'm guessing those little buildings out there are the border.
The northernmost border. It's really a special one. Kind of cool.
Saying goodbye to Alaska.
I'm sad.
We'll be back, Alaska, I'm sure. Pops is gonna buy a cabin there.
I want to. It's gonna be right here.
From the sign, it was only about a 5-minute drive to the official border crossing.
Poker Creek, most northerly land border port in the USA.
I didn't film it, but make sure you have your passports, and the people were very nice here.
As sad as I got a bug on my screen again. Take 2. As sad as I am to be leaving Alaska, I am pretty excited to be back in the Yukon. So is Pops. He feels like he's a gold miner. He's been reading his Yukon book.
But Dawson City, Yukon River, to be crossing the Yukon River again, I'm excited about that.
Apparently we're leaving the nice paved road behind again, and we are on dirt and gravel.
Even though this was gravel, it was one of my favorite sections of the road, as you could see it stretching out in front of you, and there was beautiful views. I was actually surprised by the amount of RVs I saw on this road as well. I wouldn't have thought it was something they would want to do.
There's the last bathroom for 71 kilometers. Back on the road for about a mile, and I see more dirt in our future though. Oh, there's the sign. Reduce speed. Here comes the dirt.
Like I said earlier though, this dirt gravel road was not bad at all to drive, and you could drive pretty fast on it.
This is the rest stop right before Dawson City, and it says, "Welcome to Dawson City." We're a couple miles out of official Dawson City, and we have reached the pavement again, but it has been gravel basically the whole drive.
Something you do have to know about this drive is that at the end you have to cross a ferry. There's no road across the Yukon River.
Before crossing the ferry into Dawson, we're going to the Paddlewheeler Graveyard, which is right here at the end of the campground. Here is the mighty Yukon River. I'm actually not 100% sure where this is at. They said go past that yellow thing, walk a few minutes down the water, so we'll see if we find it. But look at these views of the Yukon River. It's not bad.
There's no signs or anything for this, but there is directions online if this is something you want to see during your visit. It only took us about 7 minutes to walk there from where we parked.
We have made it to the graveyard. There's what remains of a paddle wheel boat. This thing is massive. Look at that. That is so cool.
There's the remains of 3 or 4 boats here, and supposedly when they weren't using them anymore, they dry docked them and the river just continued to push them up until they were stuck up here and began to degrade.
It's basically just being overtaken by the ground and the trees and everything right here.
I honestly had no idea what to expect when I saw the pictures of this online, but I was blown away by how cool it was to see these historic boats and the wreckage of them here.
Wow, check out what's left of the wheels. Oh man, this is cool.
This is pretty amazing. I'd love to spend a lot more time here and really kind of climb inside and stuff.
Make sure you have closed-toed shoes if you do that. And you're up to date with your tetanus shots.
We spent about 30 minutes just wandering around and exploring the different boats, and we were basically the only people here until we were leaving and one other person was showing up.
Here's the wheel remains of another one, so there's definitely 3 or 4 boats here. There's even remains of some stuff right here along the beach as well.
I can't imagine how beautiful the views would be from here, as it was pretty hazy from a fire that was in the area.
Is the Yukon River everything you hoped it would be?
It really is, and it's incredibly beautiful here with the sharp cliffs and stuff, and you can understand how these big paddle boats would make their way here. There's so much room. It's pretty epic.
In order to actually get into Dawson City, you have to take a ferry across the Yukon River. So we're gonna go get in line for that, see how long that takes, then hopefully get to a few things that are gonna close in the next hour before they close. All right, so there's about 6 cars, 6 RVs, and a work truck in front of us. I'm guessing that this is gonna take like 45 minutes.
If we're lucky.
What are you guessing?
I'm guessing an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, all right. We'll see.
I talked to a few other people who had basically no wait when they came across on the ferry, so I don't know if we just got unlucky with the time that we were there. There was only one ferry running when we were there though, and so it took a long time for them to take people across, let them off, and then get more and come back.
All right, it's been 30 minutes and we have 2 cars ahead of us, so if this one picks us up, I win. If not, Pops wins.
I want to lose.
I want you to lose too.
Unfortunately, we didn't get on this one, so we had to watch the ferry go across and come back again.
All right, our next chance to get on the ferry right at around an hour. We'll see if we get lucky or not. We made it.
Sweet.
All right, we made it on. It took an hour. Definitely, if you have an RV, it could take probably 2 or 3 hours for some of these people. So plan for that when you go on the ferry.
This is pretty cool. Another chance to ride a boat on the Yukon River.
It is nice that the ferry is free because it's part of the highway system and it only takes about 7 minutes to get across.
Welcome to Dawson City. We survived the ferry.
We only had about a half day to explore Dawson City, so we wanted to make the most of it by going quickly to the museums that were still open.
The Jack London Museum was closed when we got here because of the ferry, but luckily the Dawson City Museum is still open so we can go see that, and my dad's already rushed inside to get as much time as he could there.
Both my dad and I were hoping to dive into the gold rush history in this museum, but unfortunately there wasn't a lot about the gold rush here. Most of it was about establishing Dawson City itself, and there were a few exhibits on First Nations and a couple other things. It was still a great history museum, it just didn't focus on the things that we were hoping to see. From there, we just drove around and looked at a lot of the old buildings and then went into the visitor center to ask a few questions. Of course, my dad wanted to know as much as possible about the gold rush, and they definitely were very knowledgeable here.
We made it to our hotel, the Downtown Hotel. There wasn't anybody to check us into our hotel yet, so we're going to get dinner. We're heading to Sourdough Joes, which, what does sourdough mean?
Sourdough means someone who's kind of like experienced and has been in Alaska for at least 1 year.
So hopefully that means they make good food too. You were sitting on Dawson City's first lot.
This was a cool spot in the city right across from the Yukon River, and the people here were great.
So Pops fancies himself a fried chicken aficionado. He makes it at his house.
I don't fancy myself, I am.
Yeah.
Chicken. My gosh, that's beautiful.
I'm glad you're excited about my food.
No, it looks awesome.
When in Canada, you gotta get poutine, so we upgraded to try it. Brown gravy and cheese curds, what's not to love?
Yeah.
Pops' review is that it's good,
Let me get my.
but his is better.
This one, this is good, but mine's good. I use a lot more spice than mine.
And a lot more
In
frying.
a restaurant.
That was a pretty good spot for dinner. Fun people in there and good food.
We took the opportunity to walk off all the health food we just ate along the Yukon River looking at the different history plaques.
Yukon River is the third largest river in North America. Here's a map. It starts down by Skagway and goes all the way through the Yukon and actually out the end of Alaska. And then there it is right there.
One thing I liked about Dawson City is that most of the streets here were dirt, and it really felt like you were in an old west town with all of the old historic buildings.
You saw the Paddlewheeler Graveyard we went to earlier. This is an example of what one of those ships would have looked like if it was not in decay. We toured one in the Sea to Summit video, which you can see up here, and you can tour this one too, but we're not going to be here tomorrow when tours are offered.
The SS Keno was built in 1922 and it stopped its commercial service in 1951.
And there's what the broken down wheels looked like. I think if you want a Yukon museum, you probably just need to walk along the river trail. There was a lot of information on that river trail.
There really is, yeah. And not the least of which is looking at this boat and the information that's provided about it.
As you walk around Dawson City, you'll see many historic buildings that are preserved in a state of arrested decay. If you're interested in learning more about the history of these, you can actually go on a walking tour while you're here.
So there's the normal hotel, but since I'm traveling with Pops, they put us in this side hotel over here. It looks a lot more modern than I was expecting. Very nice. So we're heading into now one of the most polarizing activities that you can do in Dawson City. Uh-oh, it is toe time.
If you're not a fan of mummified toes, then you might want to skip this part, but this is the famous Sourtoe Cocktail of Dawson City. It's something that over 100,000 people have done when they visited here, and it's been going for decades.
Here is the shot. The toe is gonna go in right here.
This supposedly started when a miner got frostbite on one of his toes and they had to cut it off. The toe was then found in the 70s and it was brought down to the bar where there was a dare for a patron to drink a drink with the toe in it. Since then, they've gone through many different toes and people from all over the world have drank the cocktail. Here's my unedited experience with the Sourtoe Cocktail, and be sure to let us know if you would do it in the comments.
You can drink it fast. You can drink it slow. But your lips must touch those gnarly toes. Just your lips. No teeth. No tongue. No tongues. Just one. And that's a video. That's a video. Okay. Drink it. You got her. Yeah, it's got it. Josh, not Josh here. Here's the evidence of your folly.
Why, thank you, sir. Well, I came to Dawson City and I became an official member of the person who drinks a shot of alcohol with a human toe in it, so I guess we could say that's a successful road trip. And with that, we have one more thing left to do before we end this road trip video.
On basically every list of things to do in Dawson City, they tell you to go see the Midnight Dome. We already knew it wasn't going to be the best time to go up because of the haze, but we really wanted to see it, so we made the 10-minute drive outside of Dawson City. So unfortunately, there's a fire in the area, which is why it's so hazy, but you can imagine how good this view would be if it wasn't hazy. There's Dawson City down there and the Yukon River right next to it. Even though it's hazy, I wanted to end it on a view instead of the Sourtoe Cocktail. Pops found a good spot even in the haze.
There's the Yukon River right there.
If you happen to make it to Dawson City and go up here, be sure to let me know in the comments. I can't imagine how amazing the view would be. And on that note, our drive to Dawson City is complete. Thanks for going on this road trip with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we will see you on the next one.